here. Sorry, I am here at the Filipino Martial Arts School headquarters on a Tuesday at 8:58 p.m. right now here in California. So hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are doing great. Yeah, it's been a minute since I went on YouTube live. It's just because it's been crazy busy. We had the Rancho Cucamonga Lunar Festival last weekend, and it was a huge success. We have a bunch of new potential students, and I've already set up a few appointments with many of them. So we're really excited about what's happening with the school. We're on track to hit that our goal amount of students before the end of the year, which is 50 students. So we're on track for that, and yeah, we're really excited about it. And I mean, being able to have 50 students would be a new milestone for Filipino Martial Arts School, and then would also propel us to move forward. So if you've been looking for a Filipino martial arts program and you're in Riverside or Huntington Beach area, please visit us at www.fmaschool.com. Um, so this past weekend was a lot of fun, and I wanted to talk to you guys about doing what is right and doing what you how do I mean doing what's right and doing things that are quote unquote kind of questionable as far as what's the right thing to do or not. Okay, I'm saying this because one of the issues. Oops, sorry guys. One of the issues that has come that you have to be aware of when you're a Filipino martial arts school instructor. Sorry about that, guys. Is working within your community, and I'm talking about working within the Filipino martial arts community. And it is hard enough to go up against other martial arts systems. Our biggest competitor actually is not other martial arts systems, but our biggest competitor is actually those LA Fitness, those Planet Fitness places, those gyms. Those are our biggest competitors because their price point is so much lower as compared to a price point of that of a martial arts. But if we put apples to donuts next to each other as to which is more bang for your buck, well, you will definitely be getting a lot more with a martial arts program. But so with that being said, when you're in the Filipino martial arts industry, especially being a not very popular a not very popular style of fighting, it becomes it becomes very difficult. And when you have and then it seems like we're picking from the same market, right? Okay. So I know the struggles. I know how hard it is to to put an FMA program together in a world full of MMAs, BJJ schools. Okay. Now I have nothing against MMA, and I have nothing against Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. Business is business. That's the life in the Serengeti, as they say, right? But so when but there are certain courtesies that needs to be extended, regardless of how you feel about the individual. Okay. So this past weekend, we had somebody come to the booth, and he was already practicing Filipino martial arts from another school, from another teacher. Now, I will say this: that um, I know that person's teacher. I know him. I know him very well enough that well, let me just say I don't like him. And honestly, he doesn't like me, so it's okay. But regardless of how I feel about him personally, I'm not taking anything away from his Filipino martial arts skills. I'm not taking any away from his ability to teach Filipino martial arts, and I'm definitely not taking any away from anything from away from his credentials as a Filipino martial artist. I just don't like him on in many ways personal, but it's still professional. I don't like the way he does business, but it's literally none of my business. And how he runs his business, he can run it any way he wants. So one of his students approached me during the Lunar Festival, and he wanted to know if he could train with me because he kind of doesn't like the hours that the guy offers. And to each its own, right? To each its own. And with Filipino Martial Arts School, starting this year, we went from a Monday, Wednesday class to a Monday through Thursday class, 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. So I added more hours for the studio, and that has really opened up the school even further. For the longest time, I believe a lot of reasons why there's not that many people. Hi, hello. Not that many people are doing joining my school is because the hours were not conducive to their schedule. So adding 2 more days into my program has definitely opened up the school even further. So now this guy wants. I'm doing well, thank you. How are you doing? Now that this guy wants to train with me, I told him that you're more than welcome to come join our school, but you need to let your previous teacher know that I'm glad you're doing well. You need to let your previous teacher know that you will be joining my school. And then that's when we had a discussion. Now nobody got upset, nobody got angry. Let me be very clear. It started to sound like I was ramping up to. Hold on one second, guys. There we go. It started to sound like I was ramping up to saying that we got in a fight. No, we did not. But they definitely disagreed as to why they needed to tell his current teacher that he's leaving. Are you the teacher or the principal? I am the teacher, but I am also the owner. So this is not an academic school. It's a Filipino Martial Arts School. I don't know if that's what you meant by that. So anyway, so basically bottom line here is that I told him if he wanted to join my school, right? If he wanted to join my school, he's going to need to let his previous or current teacher know that he's leaving his program. And he goes, well, and then he was questioning, why do I need to do that? And I'm like, look, your teacher, I don't like him. I think he's a jerk, right? But regardless of how I feel, it is still professional courtesy to let him know that his student is becoming my student, right? And he goes, well, why do I need to tell him? I'm not really associated with him. He barely teaches. I'm like, regardless, he taught you something. So now, all that being said, I told him that, well, if you are going to join my school, you're going to need to talk to your teacher. Now, let me just say this: within any martial arts system, and I think a lot of martial arts instructors will back me up on this one. A lot of martial arts instructors, they have a tendency to start believing that their students owe them something. Like they owe them a sense of loyalty that shouldn't be broken. That shouldn't be that should be rooted in deep foundational respect for the teacher and the system. But the truth is, guys, my students can go anywhere, anytime they want. They don't need my permission. They don't need my permission to go train another system if they want to train with another system. By all means, go right ahead. But so if my students say, "Hey, I want to train with another instructor," go ahead. That is your right. I mean, it's your money. It's not mine. So you worked hard for your money. I didn't. So go right ahead. It's 9:07 here. I'm in California. I'm sorry, Jeanette Romero. Did I pronounce that right? I hope I did. So, so my students can go anywhere they want. So I know a lot of teachers that says you can only train with me and me exclusively. So, good. I'm glad I pronounced it correctly. He said they can only train with them and them exclusively. I don't believe that. In fact, I don't believe that so much that I actually invite other instructors to come teach at my school, to work with my students. Because I truly believe, that if you're just learning from one perspective, you're always going to be, like blinders on. You need to expand your horizons. You need to expand your peripherals, so that you can see all these other different systems and different arts. So at the end of it, I told him, you want to join my school? You have to talk to your teacher. You don't have to. You're not asking his permission. You're not asking his blessing. You're just informing him. Hell, if all I care, you text him, right? So bottom line here is that when that guy, anytime somebody is coming from me to me from another instructor, from another Filipino martial arts system, and it's only within Filipino martial arts. If there's another person that wants to come to me from another Filipino martial arts program, I require them to let their teacher know. Now, if they don't, and then if they don't, then they can't join my school. Now, even when they do that, I will, after they talk to their teacher, I call their teacher, especially if they're a friend of mine, and say, hey, brother, your student reached out to me and asked if I could train him. And he go, and 99 out of 100, they always say, dude, thank you, brother. And most of the time, the reason why they're leaving is it's because of there's circumstances that happen beyond anybody's control, like somebody moved or somebody's work schedule changed, etc. Or so there's different reasons, and it's not always dramatic. Sometimes it's just circumstances, and in those kind of circumstances, they need to be flexible. So bottom line here is, if somebody from another Filipino martial arts program wants to come train with me, they need to talk to their teacher. I need to talk to their teacher, and then let them know that this is what's happening. Nobody's asking for anybody's permission. Nobody's asking for anybody's blessing. We're just informing. And in the end, that student agreed. That student agreed, and I said, okay. Then once that's accomplished, then you can join my school. Now, I don't know. Do you guys think that is something that should be done, or am I being naive? Respectfully, why is there no Filipino martial in a major MNU such as UFC, One FC? So Filipino martial arts is a weapon-based system. So being a weapon-based system, that's not what UFC or One Fight Championship is doing. But one fighting championship, am I saying that right? They do have Filipino martial arts, but they have the version called Yaoyan. So one of the greatest one championship fighter, Filipino. Let me I don't want to mispronounce his name. I'm gonna look him up real quick. Edward Foliang. He practices Yaoyan, and that's Filipino martial arts. Right now the current what's her name? Denise Zamboanga. She practices Filipino martial arts. So yes, it is there. I don't know so much as UFC, but I know Rose Namanuñez also practiced Filipino martial arts. So within the UFC or MMA system, those are non-weapon based style of competition. So yes, you wouldn't see, my brand of FMA on there, because we do weapon based fighting. So I hope that answers that question. So yeah, so bottom line is, do you guys think that asking that student to let their teacher know that they're coming over to me, do you think that was a good idea? I would love to hear your thoughts on that one. Okay, well, it seems like, thank you for that question, Freddie. And if anybody else have any questions or thoughts, please send them over my way. But until then, I am going to I'm probably going to log off within a minute or so if nobody says anything or asks me anything, which is obviously fine. But I just wanted to give you guys an opportunity to ask me before I log off. So now, again, if you are looking for a Filipino martial arts program and you're in Riverside or Orange County, Huntington Beach area, please visit us at www.fmaschool.com. And for the Huntington Beach one, you can visit us at surfcityfma.com. All right, guys, this is Chief Tappy Tappy Big Boy Screamador. Here we go. In your honest opinion, would a weapon-based FMA practice have any chance against a fully trained MMA if the FMA doesn't have a weapon? 100% yes. 100%. In my honest opinion, yes. I think an FMA practitioner will do extremely well, even if I don't have, any weapons on me. I would do pretty well. Now, whether or not I would do well in a UFC match, that's a different question. Because if we're talking about street life and death situation, then there's no holds barred. There's no holds barred. I will do whatever I need to do to survive. Now, a UFC has rule. Now, again, I'm not knocking UFC. I'm not knocking MMA. Please let me be very clear about that. I have mad respect for MMA style of fighting, but it's a sport. That is not what that is not the right barometer to determine whether or not it is effective or not. I don't know if I'm making any sense. I might not be. So, now, here's my thing. If you believe, Freddie, that MMA is the greatest of all things, of course, go right ahead. If you believe that MMA is the greatest of all things, of course. If you think MMA is the greatest of all things, meaning that it speaks to you as far as its philosophies, its training, its efficacy, then I 100% suggest you try MMA. And if you think FMA, Filipino Martial Arts, speaks to you on that level, then I would suggest you go with Filipino Martial Arts. When people ask me, what martial arts should I practice, I always tell them, train the art that speaks to you the most. Train the art that you feel is like, man, that just makes too much sense. I've been following some of your Instagram. Why do you think sometimes FMA is met with ridicule instead of respect? Because it is it's a different way of approaching martial arts. So first of all, they don't respect the fact that the first thing that Filipino martial arts train with is a stick, or double stick, depending on the system. But we train mostly with the stick first. A lot of people don't respect that because they say, well, when am I going to carry a stick? When am I going to carry a stick? The problem is that they can't see beyond that. They can't imagine anything anything that what they're seeing can't be translated to other things. That's what I think the biggest problem is. The second biggest problem is, and I would have to say this is specific to me, is that when they see me, they automatically discount my credibility, the efficacy of my system because of my size. And I think that's where it's coming from. But ultimately, at the end of the day, the reason why is because they are just ignorant to the facts. So, but if you're wondering if is there something that I could do to make them respect me? There's not, because it's social media. There's always going to be some Yahoo out there that's going to say, that's just going to say something just for the sake of saying something without coming from a knowledgeable based information. So it's coming from complete, imagination of lack of imagination of theirs. So that's where I'm coming from. You're very welcome. Do you have any more? Sorry, I haven't had dinner yet, so this is my snack for now. Sorry about that, Freddie. Oh, thank you, E. George. Thank you very much. So imagine this, Freddie. Um, FMA being a weapon-based martial arts, a blade-style martial arts. If I am on the ground with you, yes, I am in your world, but in many ways you're also in mine. Because if I have a knife, proximity is my strength. Okay? So if I have a knife, if we're talking, real FMA, meaning weapon-based style fighting, you getting near me, trying to choke me, trying to do all those things, yes, you can definitely do those, but at the same time, I'm stabbing you. I might pass out, but you're gonna die. And number two, Filipino martial arts has a ground fighting. I want you to look up a guy named Tuhon Rico, Rico Ricketts. He has actually incorporated a lot of ground fighting system with his FMA. There's another style of FMA that incorporates weapons-based style fighting, which is called Dumog. That's Dumog. So we will, if we were to say grappling to grappling, I would say a grappler would definitely have the upper hand, undoubtedly. But if we're talking about just street, no holds barred, life or death situation, I'm pulling a knife. I'm definitely pulling a knife. I hope that answers your question. And if you have any more, please send them my way. Well, so far, YouTube's not shutting me down for playing this music in the background, so I'm going to keep this music. So, I love jazz. Do you have any more questions for me, Freddie? Well, okay. It seems like there's no more questions. So I'm going to go ahead and log off for now. But if you're looking for a Filipino martial arts program and you're in your Riverside or Huntington Beach area, please go to my website at fmaschool.com and sign up today. Until next time, this is Chief Tappy Tappy Big Boy Screamador. Peace out. God bless. And that's a Tappy Tappy. Good night, everybody.